2 trophies, and 49 goals and assists in a single season. But still, I was not called up to play for my country at Euro 2024. Perhaps I was too young, or maybe it was just because I did it for a team like Ajax, and not for a team like Bayern. When the Euro started, I was busy closing a deal with my agent. Leading up to the Euros, a lot of news outlets tipped me to move to a team like Arsenal, Chelsea, Dortmund, Spurs, and even Bayern. I was hot property and my agent didn't allow me to forget it. But only one of the teams could meet Ajax's asking price of 80 million euros. The rest pulled back at 60 million, and instead they tried to convince me to not renew with Ajax in my final year, to sign me on a free at the end of the next season. My agent liked the idea, and he said it would get me more money, but I told him that I couldn't accept such conditions. I could not accept such terms. I needed to leave Ajax for a bigger team in order to get called up to the 2026 World Cup. I needed to leave now, and I let him know that. As mentioned earlier, only one team was willing to pay the 80 million euros for me. My agent warned me of all the pressure, all the hate that I would have to endure if I chose to sign with this team, especially at the start. It would be extreme. The margin for error would be thin. The fans and the board would be unforgiving to failure, and the expectations would be sky high. After all, this club was signing me to fill a hole left by one of the greatest midfielders in recent football history, a bona fide club legend. So yeah, this would not be an easy step to take. But hey, this road was never going to be easy.
A new beginning, the opening match day of the season, and a keen sense of optimism enveloping everyone. To be able to report. I'm Derek Ray in...
Now, if as we expect, Bayern are to challenge at the top of the...
Great opportunity! Oh, a goal! And no wonder he's celebrating. It's his first for the club. Through Harry Kane, options around him. And he might be through here. And there it is! 2 goals in a matter of minutes. Incredible stuff. Kane. Opportunity. A goal! How about that? He's put it away to make it a hat-trick. Well, it could be on for him here. A goal! He's dispatched it! And take the 3 points from this game. What did you make of it?
Yeah, it was a good result. They played well and they're now up.
I said that I would have to join a European giant to increase my chances of becoming a regular pick for the Dutch national team, and Bayern ended up being my best option. They had everything I would have wanted and needed: top-tier training facilities, a Champions League-worthy squad, and best of all, they were in one of the best leagues in Europe, meaning they had a lot of attention from football fans. Everything I would need to show Koeman why he should call me up for the 2026 World Cup. Germany won Euro 2024. And us? We finished bottom of our group. It was disgraceful and disgusting to the fans, and they let us all know it. For Ronald Koeman, they titled him our worst coach yet, and said he shouldn't be coaching us in 2026. For Van Dijk, they said that he no longer deserved to wear our country's armband. For the rest of them, they said that they no longer wanted to see them in those orange shirts until they remembered what it meant to play in them. In other words, the fans were not happy. So we all got together and decided that our road to redemption had to begin here, and the destination, the end of the road, was that 2026 World Cup final. It would be an insane story to go from the worst team in Euro 2024 to the best nation in the world. It would be difficult too. The entire national team understood it, from the Licht to the Pi. And we also understood that, hey, this was a road we could not afford to lose on. Our first step was a game against Portugal. The first time we would wear those orange shirts since the Euros disaster, and it was also our first chance at bouncing back and preparing for the World Cup, which was in 2 years at the time. Portugal were strong, and they too had a point to prove. They were also at Euro 2024, you see, and they finished second, losing 2-1 to Germany in the final. On paper, it was just a friendly, but on the pitch, it felt like something more. Like I said, for us, it was a chance to bounce back from failing so far from the summit. And for them, it was a chance to bounce back when the summit was just an arm's length away. The game was not easy for us, and going down 1-0 in the first 10 minutes didn't help. It was frustrating for all of us when we saw the ball rolled back out of the net, but Frankie de Jong told us to keep our heads up and play as if it was still 0-0. Of course, we were professionals. We knew that was what we should have done. But we also knew that pretending that nothing happened wouldn't take away the disappointment and the shame from the faces of our fans, or the pressure to give back hope from those same fans. The feet could pretend, but the minds could not forget. Even the halftime team talk couldn't shake off those demons from the Euros, and Koeman saw it. I saw it too. And it was strange because I was not on the bus that took Holland to Germany for the chase of that trophy. But I felt it too. The shame, the pressure, and the fear of failing. And in the second half, Portugal saw it on us too, and they took full advantage of it as they walked away with a comfortable 3-0 win. Then there was Spain. Heading into this game, we were all mentally shaken. The fans were still angry, and they let us know on social media. It got to a point where Koeman did not allow any phones during international breaks to keep our focus. Not that it would help. We were now the most vulnerable prey in international football. And if no one knew that before, they would have been sure of it after the Portugal game. They would have been able to see it with their own eyes. But with all that fear, all that pressure, all those nerves, we still stepped out of the Wanda Metropolitano tunnel regardless. And we intended to play at our very best. Because, in all honesty, it was the least we could do for our fans after all these tough months of football we've put them through. And with that attitude, we were able to take the lead against Spain in the first 5 minutes. And I was the one to score a goal. And it was a goal that was special for two reasons. The first being that it was our first goal in 3 months, and the second reason being much deeper than that. The goal represented a fresh, clean slate for us as a squad, and even as a nation. It was a new well of hope for the fans and the players, and it was an opportunity to mark the beginning of a new era. An era clean of the shame and the guilt of the past. So even when Spain scored an equalizer later on in the half, we didn't drop our heads, not like against Portugal. Instead, we chose to carry on because the pressure of the past was finally off us. The pressure for me as well to prove my super talent capabilities, to prove that I would be able to save this team, was also loosened on me as well. And this led to a very famous and important 2-1 win against Spain, which truly solidified this day as a completely fresh start. Then there was Germany. What could I tell you? 4-time World Cup winners, current champions of Europe, one of the best squads in the world, and one of our biggest rivals. For us, we just snapped out of one of our worst periods of football form, and they came off a major tournament win. They were a train that didn't know the word stop, and we were simply the next barrier in line for them to ram right through. Truly, we were the underdog, but I liked it, and so did the rest of the team. We had nothing to lose and everything to win, and we played like it. And in my opinion, we ended up playing one of the greatest international games you're ever going to see.
Trying to carve out the angle. And there's the opener. The all-important first goal. Beaten easily here. Danjuma. And they've levelled it up. Nothing to split them once more. This is a positive-looking move. The ref allowing the game to flow. Oh, can you believe it? With so little time left, surely that'll be the winner. Stunning scenes here.
Then Portugal. one last time. Once again, what could I tell you? You know the story. You know ours. One of redemption and unstoppable momentum. And you know theirs too. It's one and the same. But there's a difference between us. The world believes that Portugal is currently the best team in the world. And they've shown it. They haven't lost a game since they faced off against us. And only we believe that Holland has the capability of beating them. Even though, much like them, we haven't lost a game since we lost against them. But there was a difference. For us, the world saw it as luck. A phase, actually. But for Portugal, they saw it as a sign of things to come. Brobbey kicks off our last international game for the 24-25 season. Once more, we're away from home. And once more, the game was difficult. But this time, it was difficult for both sides. Until we opened up the game with the first goal. Then, we pulled away again with the second. And thankfully, that was enough to seal the victory. And this victory was special. It was our biggest victory yet, bigger than Germany. And it was a perfect way to cap off the 24-25 international season. A season that began for us at rock bottom. A place where your own fans hate you and shame you. A place where you question if you ever deserved their love in the first place. A place where you had to face the fact that you simply weren't good enough to keep the hope of those little ones in the orange Dutch shirts alive. And the Holland fans loved us for it. They loved us for the story. They loved me. But for the Bayern fans, things were different. Let me explain. From day one, I was never truly loved at Bayern. I wore their shirt, and I wore it with pride and the utmost respect. But the most I could get in return from the fans was unnecessary respect. When I scored, they cheered with me. But when I missed, they hissed at me. When I had a good game, they talked about me as if I were a new Cruyff. But when I had a bad one, they wished I had never come from Ajax. 80 million worse spent. I heard it and I saw it everywhere. But why did they hate me so much? Well, they hated me because I replaced their golden boy, Jamal Musiala. I was taking too many minutes away from him, as they said. And I was expensive, I was unnecessary, and I was painted as someone to replace both Thomas Muller and Jamal Musiala. But that choice was never mine to make. I never asked to be bought for 80 million euros, and I never asked Thomas to treat me as if I was the second coming of Thomas Muller. No. I earned everything I worked for. I earned my place in the starting 11. I worked for all of it. And all my teammates agreed. Kane, Coman, Kimmich, Leroy, and even Musiala himself. But you see, that's the thing. Their opinions weren't the ones that mattered, because whether you like it or not, in football, the fans hate you the hardest. But hey, hate or no hate, we needed to move forward. It's what the job expects from us as players, because like it or not, we were in a Champions League final now. And Harry Kane and myself were the biggest role players in getting us there. Both of us were having phenomenal seasons. He had just about 50 goal contributions, and so did I. But hey, it's a Champions League final. And it's Real Madrid. It was the biggest game of my life. And it was the scariest because I knew what could happen if we didn't win. It truly is a difficult concept to explain simply with words. But believe me, I felt that hate every time I walked out that tunnel. I saw it. Even through the cheers and the smiles. And I won't lie, it hurt. Truly it hurt. A large part of me wished I never came here. A large part of me wished I stayed at Ajax. But an even bigger part of me convinced me to push through. Because I knew what my end goal was. And so when the game reached its final 15 minutes, it wasn't looking good. Real Madrid 2, Bayern Munich 0. And I can't even begin to explain how I felt as I watched the clock. Every time the ball went out of play, I looked up. 74, 58. The ball goes out of play, I look up. 76, 52. I was afraid more of what the fans would say than how it would feel to lose the biggest game of my life. Truly, it was scary. Truly, I don't know how to explain it, guys, honestly. But then something happened, something special. Because then it was Real Madrid 2 and Bayern Munich 2, and it was the final moments of extra time. The ball was coming to me. All I had to do was run forward and shoot. I saw the space in front of me, and I knew I could run into it. I've done it so many times before. But I didn't run. I didn't want to fail. Not here. Not in front of all of those people. I just didn't want to feel all that hate. Not again. I didn't want that shadow of shame and failure to walk with me again. I didn't want to become the scapegoat. I didn't want people to look at this final and say the reason Bayern loses to Real Madrid is because Bram van Leuven doesn't score the biggest shot of the game. But looking back, I should have ran forward.
With the ball. Handles it back. Real Madrid.
Maybe that way I could have outrun that shadow too.
Some tired players out there, but what you can be sure of, they'll find some energy when they get their hands on the trophy. They'll be going mad in the next few moments.
The Champions League winners, Real Madrid.
Well, this is what they wanted.